The crystalline chambers of the Galactic Council, dimmed as Admiral James Walker's hologram, materialized in the center of the vast amphitheater. His weathered face, bearing scars from countless battles, reflected the emergency lighting that pulsed through the chamber. 27 species represented in the council shifted uncomfortably as they recognized his Legion of Victory medallion, an honor bestowed only upon those who had prevented extinction-level threats. Honorable council members, Walker's voice resonated through the chamber. What I'm about to share will fundamentally change our understanding of galactic security. He paused, his augmented eyes scanning the assembled representatives. Earth has achieved quantum tunneling faster than light travel. The chamber erupted in overlapping translation feeds as council members began speaking all at once. The Zentari representative, with their characteristic blue-shifted skin, rose on their gravitational platform. Impossible. Their system was quarantined. Our monitoring stations were bypassed. Walker cut in, triggering a holographic display that filled the chamber. This footage was captured 6 hours ago by our Deep Space Sentinel near the Horsehead Nebula. The assembled council watched in stunned silence as a sleek vessel materialized inside a planetary defense shield, a feat previously thought impossible. The ship's design was unmistakably human, aggressive angles and exposed heat radiators, prioritizing function over form in a way that screamed of Earth's military doctrine. Dr. Emily Harrison, the council's chief xenobiologist, stepped forward from her observation pod. Her presence alone silenced the chamber. She hadn't addressed the full council in over 50 years. "What you're seeing isn't just technological advancement," she said, manipulating the hologram to show Earth's military history. "Humanity has evolved through constant warfare. Every major technological leap they've made has been driven by conflict." The display shifted through centuries of human combat, from primitive gunpowder weapons to nuclear deterrence, from cyber warfare to neural hijacking countermeasures. While we cultivated stability, Harrison continued, they forged their civilization in chaos. Their internet, a military communication network, became the backbone of their society. Their space program, born from missile technology. Even their medical advances stem largely from treating combat injuries. Walker nodded grimly. But that's not what truly concerns us. He brought up new footage. Human ships engaging in synchronized quantum jumps, appearing simultaneously at multiple points in space. They've weaponized uncertainty itself. These vessels exist in a quantum superposition until observed. Our traditional defense screens are useless against an enemy that can materialize inside them. The Proxima representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulsed with alarm. How many ships do they possess with this capability? Unknown, Walker admitted, but their production capabilities are unprecedented. This footage, he gestured to a new hologram showing massive orbital shipyards around Earth, is from just 3 months ago. Humanity has turned their entire lunar surface into an automated manufacturing facility. Dr. Harrison took control of the display again, showing human neural patterns. Their brains are uniquely adapted to warfare. Pattern recognition, threat assessment, and creative problem-solving are hardwired into their psychology. They don't just adapt to threats, they innovate responses we couldn't predict. Most concerning, Walker added, is their cultural adaptation to conflict. Their entertainment, what they call science fiction, has been preparing them for extraterrestrial warfare for centuries. They've imagined and solved countless first contact scenarios. When they achieved spaceflight, they immediately began implementing defensive systems based on these fictional preparations. The council leader, an ancient being from the first wave of galactic civilization, raised all 4 hands for silence. "You're proposing action, Admiral." "The Terran Extermination Force," Walker stated firmly. "A joint military operation to contain Earth before they expand beyond their solar system. If we wait, if we allow them to establish extrasolar colonies, we'll never be able to contain them." The council leader's eyes shifted through the electromagnetic spectrum as they considered the proposal. "The implications of such action will be severe," Walker acknowledged. But the alternative is worse. Humanity doesn't just represent a military threat. Their very existence, their chaos-driven innovation, threatens the stability we've maintained for millennia. They must be contained, or they will remake the galaxy in their image. The vote was unanimous. As the council chambers brightened again, Walker allowed himself a moment of doubt. Humanity's response to this threat would either confirm their worst fears or exceed them. Lieutenant Kate Morrison hadn't slept in 36 hours, but the quantum detection grid's alert jolted her awake faster than any stimulant. Her underground monitoring station on Europa, disguised as a mining facility, had just picked up the impossible: a fleet of ships using outdated cloaking technology. "Contact Lunar Command," she ordered, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Priority Alpha. Authentication code: Morrison 7 Delta Echo." The quantum entanglement communicator hummed to life, establishing an untraceable connection. Morrison's superior, Commander Rachel Hayes, appeared on screen, her expression hardening as she saw the data streaming in. "How many?" Hayes asked, already activating her command protocols. 300 capital ships at minimum," Morrison replied, expanding the detection grid's range. "They're using triple-layered phasing fields, but our quantum sensors are picking up their weak signatures. They think they're invisible." Hayes allowed herself a grim smile. "Looks like the Council never figured out we can detect quantum probability disturbances. Activate Protocol Sleeping Dragon." Across the solar system, seemingly derelict satellites and space debris began to pulse with hidden energy signatures. Earth's orbital defense network, disguised as 3 centuries of space junk, awakened. Each piece contained a quantum-locked weapon system, designed specifically to counter advanced alien technology. The TEF fleet, led by High Commander Zixtal of the Centauri Dominion, maintained perfect formation as they approached Earth's orbit. Their intelligence suggested minimal resistance. Humans were supposed to be newly spacefaring, after all. "High Commander," his sensor officer reported, "we're detecting no defensive installations. Their orbital space appears to be filled with primitive satellites and debris." Zixtal's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. "Begin targeting their major population centers. The Council wants this done quickly and cleanly." That's when Lieutenant Morrison sprang her trap. "Execute quantum collapse," she ordered, transmitting the command through the secured network. "Let's show them why you don't underestimate Earth." The space around the TEF fleet suddenly lit up as thousands of pieces of debris revealed their true nature. Quantum-locked energy beams, impossible to dodge or deflect, lanced through the alien formation. Each shot existed in multiple quantum states until impact, making traditional shields useless. "Impossible." Zixtal roared as his flagship systems began failing. "They're centuries away from this technology." Commander Hayes' voice broadcast across all frequencies, deliberately using the aliens' own communication protocols. "Actually, we've had quantum weaponry since before we achieved FTL. We just didn't advertise it." The TEF fleet attempted to regroup, but they'd fallen into a carefully laid trap. The debris field around Earth wasn't random. It was a 3-dimensional maze designed to funnel attacking ships into predetermined killing zones. From her station on Europa, Morrison watched as automated defense platforms emerged from hidden lunar bases. These weren't the clunky, primitive weapons the Council expected. Each platform wielded technology reverse-engineered from decades of studying crashed alien ships that thought they'd been successfully hidden or destroyed. "Second wave incoming," Morrison reported, tracking new quantum disturbances. "They're trying to flank through the asteroid belt." Hayes activated the final phase of their defense, launched the swarm. Thousands of autonomous fighters erupted from concealed bases across the solar system's moons and asteroids. Each fighter was piloted by an advanced AI, its neural network modeled on the brains of Earth's most successful combat pilots. They moved with impossible precision, their quantum drives allowing them to appear and disappear faster than organic pilots could track. The second TEF wave found itself caught between the swarm and the quantum defense grid. Ships vanished in explosions of light as their quantum fields collapsed, their advanced technology rendered useless by humanity's preparedness. Signal command. Hayes ordered as the last TEF ships either retreated or fell to Earth's defenses. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. The Council just learned why humanity's paranoia was justified. Morrison watched the quantum detection grids display as the survivors fled, their formation shattered. Should we pursue? Negative, Hayes replied, a dangerous glint in her eye. Let them run. Let them tell the Council exactly what happened here. Let them know that humanity wasn't caught sleeping. In the debris field of the battle, quantum sensors detected the activation of dozens of salvage drones. Earth's engineers would soon have plenty of alien technology to study and improve upon. The real war was just beginning. Colonel Michael "Iron Mike" Thompson stood in the wreckage of the TEF command ship's bridge, his combat suit's sensors analyzing everything in sight. The massive vessel, designated Stellar Ascendancy, had crash-landed in the Martian desert after the failed invasion. Its quantum core was still intact, a technological goldmine waiting to be cracked. Dr. Anderson, he called over the secure channel. You're going to want to see this. Their computer core is something else entirely. Dr. Robert Anderson's response crackled through with barely contained excitement. The quantum entanglement readings are off the charts. Mike, their processing power must be. Wait, something's wrong. Thompson's suit sensors flashed red as microscopic particles began swarming through the ship's corridors. Everyone out. Emergency protocols. He shouted, but it was too late. The nanobots had already surrounded them, a silver mist that devoured everything in its path. Except they didn't die. Thompson watched in amazement as the nanobots attempted to dissolve his suit's outer layer, only to encounter the experimental carbon lattice armor. The microscopic machines struggled, their programming unable to cope with the unique molecular structure. Rob, Thompson transmitted, his tactical display recording everything. I think the Council just played their trump card. And I think we just found out it's not as good as they thought. Anderson's voice was tight with concentration. These are Nexus-class deconstruction units. The Council's been developing them for millennia. They're programmed to target and destroy specific technological signatures. Mike, they were made specifically to destroy human tech. Thompson smiled behind his visor. Guess they didn't account for our habit of over-engineering everything. Team, fall back to the quantum core. Dr. Anderson needs samples. In his laboratory beneath Olympus Mons, Anderson worked feverishly. The captured nanobots revealed secrets their creators never intended. They based these on von Neumann principles. He muttered, watching the machines attempt to replicate using available materials. But they limited their evolution algorithms, probably afraid of them getting out of control. Thompson stood at the observation window, watching the containment chamber where the nanobots endlessly tried to breach the carbon lattice barriers. Can we use them? Better. Anderson's fingers flew across his console. We can improve them. The Council was so focused on control, they didn't realize the potential. These things aren't just weapons. They're universal constructors. And we're going to remove their limitations. The next 48 hours became a blur of programming and testing. Anderson's team worked relentlessly, applying Earth's centuries of robotics and AI research to the alien technology. They didn't just understand the nanobots. They transformed them. The Council thought they could use these to destroy our technology, Anderson explained during the final briefing. Instead, we've turned them into something new. We're calling it the Steel Plague. The holographic display showed the enhanced nanobots in action. Unlike the Council's version, these machines didn't just destroy. They consumed and rebuilt. Each carried a quantum-encrypted copy of human engineering principles, allowing them to transform alien technology into hybrid systems compatible with Earth's networks. Time to test them in the field, Thompson announced, reviewing the tactical data. The TEF had established a forward base on Ganymede, thinking Jupiter's radiation would hide them. They were about to learn otherwise. The deployment was beautiful in its simplicity. A single stealth drone, barely larger than a human hand, slipped through the TEF's defenses. The enhanced steel plague did the rest. Within hours, the alien base's systems began to transform. Quantum computers reconfigured themselves, weapon systems evolved, and defensive shields mutated into hybrid barriers that drew power from Jupiter's magnetosphere. "Sir," a technician called out, "we're receiving signals from the transformed base. The steel plague, it's not just converting their tech, it's improving it." Anderson watched the data streams with pride. Of course it is. The Council spent millennia trying to control technological evolution. We just set it free. Thompson's tactical display lit up with new signatures as the steel plague spread through the TEF's support fleet. "Send word to command. Tell them Operation Evolution is a success. And tell them," he paused, watching as alien ships began to transform, their hulls gleaming with new purpose, "tell them humanity just changed the rules of engagement." In deep space, the Council's worst fears were realizing themselves. They had created a weapon to destroy humanity's technology. Instead, they had given humanity the tools to unleash technological evolution itself. The galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Jessica Martinez watched through her quantum microscope as another human cell succumbed to the lambda virus. The pathogen was elegant in its devastation, a masterpiece of biological engineering that made Earth's deadliest viruses look primitive by comparison. 3 billion infected in the first wave alone, and conventional treatments were useless. "Run it again," she ordered her team at the Molecular Defense Center beneath the Rocky Mountains. "Show me the protein folding sequence at 1/1,000,000th speed." The holographic display expanded, revealing the virus's complex dance at the molecular level. Something about its behavior tugged at her memory, a pattern she'd seen before in her research on extreme environment adaptation. "Cross-reference with Project Phoenix," she commanded. "Focus on the volcanic bacteria strains." Her AI assistant, Newton, processed the request instantly. Match found. The virus's protein structure shares an 89% similarity with thermophilic bacteria from underwater volcanoes. Martinez leaned forward, her eyes widening. They didn't just create this virus, they adapted it from existing extremophile organisms. "Show me the genetic markers." The display shifted, revealing the stunning truth. The Council's Bioweapons Division had created the lambda virus by studying Earth's most resilient life forms. They'd turned our planet's evolutionary advantages against us. "Get me General Richardson," Martine said, her fingers already flying across the holographic interface. "I know how to beat this thing." In the command center above, General Thomas Storm Richardson received the call he'd been waiting for. "Talk to me, Doctor. Can we fight this?" "Better." Martinez's voice carried the edge of discovery. "We can turn it. The virus isn't just targeted at humans. It's built from Earth's own biological building blocks. They studied our extremophiles, our adaptation mechanisms. But they didn't understand what they were working with." "Explain it like I'm not a geneticist," Richardson requested, watching the global infection rates climb on his tactical display. They built a weapon using Earth's most adaptable organisms, thinking they could control the adaptation process. But these life forms, Martines paused, selecting her words carefully. "They evolve faster than anything the Council has ever encountered. We can use that." The next 72 hours became a blur of genetic engineering and controlled evolution. Martinez's team worked around the clock, using quantum computing to simulate millions of years of viral evolution in hours. They weren't trying to destroy the lambda virus. They were helping it evolve. The Council made one critical mistake, Martines explained during the emergency briefing. They assumed Earth's extreme environment organisms would be stable. They didn't realize these life forms are in a constant state of evolution. By using them as a base, they created something they can't control. The holographic display showed the modified virus in action. Where the original lambda targeted human DNA, the evolved strain had developed a fascinating new property. It strengthened human immune systems while specifically attacking alien biochemistry. "Release the counter-virus," Richardson ordered, his voice grave. Designation: Phoenix Protocol. The distribution was swift and silent. Earth's orbital defense network, still in place from the first TEF attack, released microscopic capsules into the upper atmosphere. Within hours, reports began flowing in from around the world. The Lambda virus wasn't just being stopped, it was being transformed. "Sir," a technician called out, "we're receiving reports from the TEF forward bases. They're bioengineered troops. They're falling ill." Martinez watched the data streams with grim satisfaction. The virus isn't just attacking them. It's adapting to each species it encounters, becoming more effective with each iteration. Their own biological enhancement programs made them more vulnerable. Richardson's tactical display showed TEF ships retreating from Earth orbit as the infection spread through their ranks. "How long until they develop a counter?" "They can't," Martinez replied, her voice certain. "The virus evolves too quickly now. Every attempt to fight it just makes it stronger, more specialized against their biology. They wanted to use Earth's evolutionary mechanisms against us. Instead, we showed them why Earth's life forms are the most resilient in the galaxy," Richardson finished. "Send word to command. The biological front is secure. And Doctor," he paused, watching the infection rates among TEF forces climb, "remind me never to get on your bad side." In their distant chambers, the Council received the reports with growing horror. Their perfect biological weapon had been turned against them, evolving faster than their scientists could comprehend. They had tried to use Earth's biological advantages, only to discover why our planet's life forms had survived multiple extinction events. Evolution, it seemed, was humanity's greatest ally. Major Sarah Williams led her quantum infiltration team through the crystalline corridors of the Council's Archive Sanctuary on Proxima b. Their phase-shift suits, reverse-engineered from captured TEF technology, rendered them virtually invisible to standard security systems. "Crystalline memory core ahead," Lieutenant Jack Harper whispered through their quantum-linked comms. His neural interface was already interfacing with the alien data structures. "Heavy encryption, but nothing we haven't cracked before." Williams smiled behind her visor. The Council never expected humans to understand their quantum crystal technology, let alone improve upon it. "Begin the hack." "Dr. Reynolds, you're up." Dr. Amanda Reynolds, their quantum archaeologist, stepped forward. Her specialized interface equipment, designed specifically for accessing ancient alien databases, hummed to life. "Starting deep archive scan." "Wait." Her voice caught. "This can't be right." The team's displays lit up with cascading data streams as ancient files began decrypting themselves. It wasn't their doing. The archive was responding to their presence. "It's reading our genetic signatures," Reynolds breathed. The archive. It was waiting for us. The chamber's crystals pulsed with ancient light as a holographic projection filled the space. Before them stood the image of a being from the first civilization, its form both beautiful and terrifying in its complexity. "If you are accessing this record," the ancient being spoke in perfectly translated English, "then the Nexus prophecy has begun its fulfillment. You are the children of the Death World." Williams signaled her team to secure the perimeter while Reynolds recorded everything. The hologram continued. "In the time before the Council, our seers glimpsed a terrible and wonderful future. A species would emerge from a world that should not support life, strengthened by constant adversity, driven by insatiable curiosity. They would master the quantum realm not through careful study, but through intuitive leaps. Their technology would evolve chaotically, guided by imagination rather than reason." The hologram shifted, showing Earth's possible futures branching like a quantum probability tree. This species would shatter the carefully maintained balance of the galaxy, not through malice or conquest, but through their fundamental nature. They would introduce chaos into our perfect order, innovation into our stability, change into our eternal constants. "My God," Reynolds whispered, her quantum sensors recording everything. The Council didn't quarantine Earth because they feared our weapons. They feared our ideas. The ancient being's image continued. The Council was established not to govern, but to prevent this future. For millennia, we have controlled technological development, maintained careful barriers between species, and regulated the flow of innovation, all to prevent the rise of the Death World's children. Harper's voice cut through their wonder. "Major, we've got movement. TEV security forces incoming." But Williams barely heard him. She was transfixed by the next revelation. Earth's quantum computing breakthrough hadn't just been unexpected, it had been thought impossible. The Council's scientists had declared certain technological paths impossible specifically to discourage research in directions that might lead to human-like advancement. The quantum barriers between realities, the hologram explained, were meant to be impenetrable. But you simply imagined they could be crossed, and your belief shaped reality itself. This is what we feared most, a species whose imagination could alter the very laws we thought immutable. "Team, prepare for combat," Williams ordered, even as she continued recording. "But hold your positions. We need every second of this." The final message hit like a quantum torpedo. The Council's greatest fear is not that you will destroy the galaxy, but that you will transform it. Your chaos brings evolution. Your imagination reshapes reality. Your very existence proves that the impossible is merely improbable. And now that you have found this message, the Archive's crystals began pulsing with increasing intensity. TEF forces were breaching the outer chambers, but they were too late. The ancient being's final words echoed through the chamber. "The prophecy is fulfilled. The age of stagnant order ends. The time of chaotic growth begins. You are not the destroyers we feared. You are the catalyst the galaxy needs. Use this knowledge wisely, children of Earth. The future is yours to imagine." As TEF forces burst into the chamber, Williams' team was already phase-shifting to their extraction coordinates. They had come seeking tactical data, but had found something far more valuable: the truth about humanity's role in the galaxy's evolution. In her secure laboratory back on Earth, Dr. Reynolds would later explain what they'd discovered. The Council hadn't been preparing for war. They had been trying to prevent the next stage of galactic evolution. But they had failed to understand a fundamental truth: you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. Commander David Reynolds watched the quantum hologram of Sol's Corona with intense concentration. The massive display dominated the Stellar Defense Command Center buried deep beneath the Australian outback. Something was wrong with the sun's quantum signature. "Analysis complete, sir," Lieutenant Emma Chen reported, her fingers dancing across the neural interface. "We're detecting quantum disturbances in the solar magnetic field. They're trying to induce a controlled nova event." Reynolds' jaw tightened. The Council had finally deployed their legendary Star Killer, a weapon so powerful its very existence had been considered a myth. "Time to detonation." 17 minutes. Chen responded, her voice steady despite the stakes. "The quantum cascade is already beginning." Reynolds opened a secure channel to the Dyson network control. "This is Commander Reynolds. Authorization code: Phoenix Solar Override. Activate Project Helios." This is not a drill. Across the solar system, thousands of seemingly inactive satellites began to move. What the Council's intelligence had dismissed as orbital debris was actually humanity's greatest engineering achievement: a partial Dyson swarm combined with quantum-linked energy collectors. "Sir," Chen called out, "the Council's flagship is broadcasting. They're demanding our surrender." The holographic image of High Admiral Zexthor materialized in the command center, his crystalline form radiating contempt. "Your species has proven more troublesome than anticipated, but this ends now. Your sun's quantum structure is already compromised. Surrender, and we will halt the cascade." Reynolds allowed himself a small smile. "You know, Admiral, for an advanced civilization, you make some very basic assumptions. Did you really think we wouldn't have contingencies for this? The alien commander's crystalline form flickered with confusion. Your civilization has barely achieved interplanetary travel. You cannot possibly have a functional Dyson swarm. Reynolds finished. Computer, initiate Helios protocol. Show our friends what humanity's been building for the past 50 years. Across the solar system, the swarm came alive. Millions of quantum-linked collectors aligned themselves, forming a vast geometric pattern around the sun. Each node was a marvel of engineering, combining stolen council technology with human innovation. Impossible, Zexthor whispered. The energy requirements alone would be impossible with your technology, Reynolds agreed. But you forgot something fundamental about humans. Admiral, we don't just copy technology, we reimagine it. Your quantum collectors could never handle this kind of power. Ours can. The Dyson swarm began to glow as it intercepted and redirected the quantum cascade. The Council's weapon wasn't just being stopped. Its energy was being harvested, transformed, and repurposed. Sir, Chen reported, excitement breaking through her professional demeanor. The swarm is at 100% capacity. The quantum feedback loop is stable. We're not just stopping their weapon, we're learning from it. Reynolds turned back to the increasingly agitated alien commander. You tried to use our sun against us, Admiral. Instead, you've just taught us how to harness stellar energy at a quantum level. Would you like to see what we can do with that knowledge? The Dyson swarm pulsed with gathered energy. Across the solar system, quantum sensors detected power readings that shouldn't have been possible. Humanity hadn't just built a defensive system. They'd created a stellar-scale energy collection grid that could power technological advancement beyond the Council's comprehension. Final warning, Admiral, Reynolds stated calmly. Withdraw your forces, or we'll be forced to demonstrate exactly what this technology can do. And I promise you, we've imagined some very creative applications. The Council flagship began retreating, followed by the rest of the TEF fleet. They had come to extinguish humanity's sun, only to discover that humans had already mastered it. As the alien ships fled, Chen's console lit up with new data. Sir, the quantum analysis of their weapon is complete. Our engineers, they think they can improve it. Reynolds watched the Dyson swarm cooling down, its network of collectors now permanently altered by the energy they'd absorbed. Of course they can, Lieutenant. That's what we do. We take the impossible, imagine something even more impossible, and then we make it work. In the depths of space, the Council's forces retreated in disarray. They had tried to use the power of a star to destroy humanity. Instead, they had given humans the key to becoming star forgers themselves. The galaxy would never be the same. Captain Alexandra Lexi Turner stood on the bridge of the TSS Liberty, watching as her ship's quantum transmitters powered up. The vessel, Earth's first dedicated information warfare platform, carried no conventional weapons. Its arsenal was far more potent: human culture, art, and unrestricted scientific knowledge. Operation Open Source is live, Communications Officer Marcus Rodriguez reported. We're broadcasting on all Council frequencies. They can't shut us down fast enough. Turner nodded, remembering the words of the ancient prophecy. The Council hadn't feared human weapons. They'd feared human ideas. Now they would learn why. First wave metrics coming in. Dr. Sophie Walker, their cultural warfare specialist, announced from her station. The Zinthera youth networks are exploding with activity. They're particularly drawn to Earth's scientific revolution histories. The main screen showed spreading points of light across the galactic map, each representing a civilization beginning to access previously forbidden human knowledge. The Council had maintained control through careful regulation of technology and information. Operation Open Source was shattering those barriers. They're especially interested in our entertainment media, Rodriguez added, surprised. The concept of science fiction is causing a sensation. The Xanthari have never encountered the idea of imagining future technologies before trying to build them. Turner smiled. Send them everything. Our failures, our successes, our dreams. Show them what unrestricted innovation looks like. The response exceeded all predictions. Within hours, underground networks across Council space were flooded with Earth's cultural and scientific database. Young aliens were particularly fascinated by humanity's habit of solving problems through creative thinking rather than established procedures. Captain, Walker called out urgently, the Proxima colonies are reporting mass demonstrations. Their youth are demanding access to human-style education systems. They want to learn through experimentation rather than rote memorization. The Council's response was predictably harsh. They attempted to block the transmissions, shut down communication networks, and suppress the spreading ideas. But they had never faced an enemy like human culture before. They're adapting our encryption techniques faster than the Council can block them, Rodriguez reported with pride. The Xanthari have already replicated our quantum communication protocols. They're helping spread the signal to other species. Turner watched as more systems lit up on the map. Send them the special package. Show them what their Council has been hiding. Across Council space, the truth began to spread. The technological limitations that had been presented as physical laws were exposed as artificial constraints. The careful balance maintained by the Council was revealed as enforced stagnation. Incoming transmission, Rodriguez announced. It's from the Xanthari Science Academy. They're sending us their own innovations, ideas they've kept hidden from the Council. Captain, some of these concepts are beautiful, Walker finished, examining the data. They've been imagining in secret, dreaming of possibilities they were told were impossible. Just like us. The revolution wasn't fought with weapons, but with dreams. Species that had been kept separate by Council decree began collaborating. Underground research networks formed, sharing innovations that defied Council restrictions. TEF vessels approaching, Tactical Officer James Chen reported. They're demanding we cease transmission. Maintain broadcast, Turner ordered. They won't fire. Look at their crew manifests. She was right. The TEF ships, staffed largely by younger aliens, were experiencing their own revolution. Crews that had been taught to fear human chaos were instead embracing human creativity. New transmission, Rodriguez reported, his voice filled with awe. It's being broadcast from multiple TEF ships simultaneously. They're requesting asylum. Their crews want to join us. Turner opened a channel to all nearby vessels, her voice carrying the weight of history. To all those who seek freedom to imagine, to innovate, to dream, you are welcome among us. Earth's knowledge is your knowledge. Our future is your future. In the Council's chambers, alarms were sounding. Their perfect order was crumbling not under the assault of human weapons, but under the irresistible appeal of human ideas. They had prepared for war but faced something far more powerful, the unleashed creativity of 1 trillion minds finally free to imagine. Send word to Earth, Turner commanded as more TEF ships declared their independence. Tell them Phase 7 is complete. The real revolution was never about technology. It was about showing the galaxy how to dream. General Thomas Storm Richardson stood aboard the TSS Enterprise, Earth's first diplomatic-class starship, as representatives from 37 former Council species gathered in its quantum-enhanced conference chamber. The vessel's design itself was a statement, combining the most advanced technology from every participating civilization into something entirely new. The old Council would have called this chaos, Ambassador Sarah Chen remarked, watching the diverse gathering of species interact freely for the first time in millennia. They'd never understood that chaos is just order we haven't recognized yet. Richardson nodded, remembering the journey that had brought them here. They tried to exterminate us. Instead, we showed them a better way. The chamber quieted as Dr. Jessica Martinez, now director of the Terran Innovation Initiative, took the central platform. Behind her, holographic displays showed the unprecedented achievements of the past 6 months. Quantum technologies evolving beyond council restrictions, medical breakthroughs from combining multiple species research, and cultural exchanges transforming societies. When the council launched the Terran Extermination Force, Martinez began, they believed they were preventing chaos. What they actually prevented was evolution, not just technological, but cultural and biological as well. Today, we change that. The assembled representatives watched as she unveiled the initiative's framework. It wasn't a governing body like the council, but rather a collaborative network dedicated to responsible innovation. Every species would contribute their unique perspectives and receive full access to the combined knowledge of galactic civilization. The Zintheri delegation has a proposal, announced their representative, a young scientist named Zixtal, daughter of the same admiral who had once tried to destroy Earth's sun. We wish to establish the first multi-species innovation center on our homeworld. Commander David Reynolds, monitoring from the Enterprise's quantum engineering section, smiled at the irony. The Zintheri, once the Council's most loyal enforcers, had become the strongest advocates for unrestricted research. The Council's greatest mistake, Martinez continued, was believing that control meant safety. They forgot that life itself emerges from chaos, that evolution requires variance, that innovation demands freedom to fail. Dr. Robert Anderson, his neural interface now upgraded with elements of Proximan crystalline technology, brought up the next display. We're detecting quantum signature matches across 17 systems. Other species had been secretly developing technologies similar to ours. The Council didn't prevent innovation. They just drove it underground. The assembly erupted in excited discussion as species began sharing their hidden achievements. Centuries of suppressed innovations emerged. Theoretical models, prototype designs, and revolutionary concepts that paralleled humanity's own forbidden research. This is why they feared us, Richardson realized. Not because we were unique, but because we showed others that resistance was possible. Captain Alexandra Turner, who had helped spread Earth's culture across the galaxy, stepped forward with the final proposal. The Terran Innovation Initiative isn't about replacing the Council's order with Earth's chaos. It's about finding balance between stability and progress, between caution and courage, between the wisdom of experience and the daring of imagination. The vote was unanimous. As the representatives signed the initiative's charter, Richardson reflected on how differently this could have ended. The Council had created the TEF to prevent change, but they had instead catalyzed the greatest transformation in galactic history. Incoming transmission, the Enterprise's communications officer announced. The remaining Council members, they're requesting to join the initiative. Martinez shared a look with Richardson before responding. Tell them they're welcome, not as rulers, but as equals. The age of controlled evolution is over. The time of collaborative innovation has begun. As the Enterprise's quantum drives powered up for the journey home, Richardson watched the assembled species mingling freely, sharing ideas that would have been forbidden mere months ago. The Council had feared chaos would destroy civilization. Instead, it had given birth to something new. A galaxy where every species was free to imagine, to create, to evolve. Send word to Earth, he ordered. Tell them the war is over. But more importantly, tell them our real work is just beginning. In the vast expanse of space, thousands of ships that had once comprised the Terran Extermination Force now carried a different name, the Terran Exploration Fleet. Their mission had changed from destroying humanity to joining them in the greatest adventure in galactic history, the unrestricted pursuit of what might be possible. The Council's nightmare had ended. Humanity's dream had just begun.